The checkbook still smelled of her. That's the thought that struck me, absurd and painful, as I sat on the single bed in the extended stay America motel. It was a cheap, plasticky smell from the discount perfume she'd loved when she was 16, mixed with the ink from the register she'd meticulously filled out for years. I'd built my entire life around that smell around her. And now, at 68, I was in a room that smelled of stale cigarettes and industrial cleaner, with 2 suitcases and a heart that had been shattered into a million pieces. It had all happened with a cold, legal finality that still left me reeling. 3 days ago, my daughter, Chloe, had won the lottery. Not a small one. A massive, life-obliterating $330 million Mega Millions jackpot. After taxes, it was a cool $198 million. She'd taken the lump sum. My quiet, thoughtful girl who used to clip coupons was suddenly one of the wealthiest women in the state. The change wasn't gradual. It was instantaneous. The money hit her account on a Tuesday morning. By Tuesday afternoon, the vultures had descended. A slick team of lawyers and financial advisors from a firm in Manhattan. A security detail that treated our modest suburban home like a hostile compound. And a new best friend. A sharply dressed woman named Cassandra who seemed to speak only in percentages and non-disclosure agreements. They held a meeting in my own living room. I served them iced tea, my hands shaking slightly. Mrs. Evans, the lead lawyer, a man with a watch that costs more than my car, said to me, "We're here to facilitate a smooth transition for Chloe into her new life. Part of that involves securing her assets and ensuring her financial future." "Of course," I'd said, smiling nervously at Chloe. She wouldn't meet my eyes. "This house," the lawyer continued, gesturing around the room I'd painstakingly painted myself, where I'd raised Chloe after her father walked out when she was 3. "It's a significant liability, emotionally and financially. The property taxes alone, not to mention the sentimental attachment, it will hold her back." "Hold her back from what?" I asked, confused. "From moving forward," Cassandra chirped. "A clean break is often the healthiest choice." Chloe finally spoke, her voice a thin, reedy thing I barely recognized. "Mom, they're right. This place, it's full of memories of being poor. Of struggling. I don't want that energy anymore." My blood ran cold. "Chloe, this is our home. I raised you here. We were happy. We were surviving," she corrected, a new hardness in her eyes. "Now I can live. And to do that, I need to be free. Unencumbered." The lawyer slid a single sheet of paper across the coffee table. It was a prepared statement. "We're prepared to offer you a one-time settlement of $100,000 to vacate the premises and sever all financial ties. In return, you'll sign a comprehensive NDA, forever relinquishing any claim to Chloe's fortune, and agreeing never to speak publicly about her or your relationship." I felt the room tilt. "Vacate? Sever ties? Chloe, what is this?" "It's business, Mom," she said, as if she'd been saying it all her life. "It's not personal. The $100,000 is more than you've ever had. You can get a little apartment somewhere. Start over." The words were like physical blows. I had worked 2 jobs my entire life to keep a roof over our heads, food on the table, and to put her through college. I had foregone new clothes, vacations, even dental work, so she could have the opportunities one never did. And now I was being offered a pittance to disappear from her life. Tears streamed down my face. "Honey, please. Don't do this. These people are poisoning you against me." Cassandra put a protective hand on Chloe's arm. Chloe's thinking clearly for the first time. She's asserting healthy boundaries. In that moment, I saw my daughter not as my child, but as a stranger, a scared, overwhelmed person being manipulated by experts in greed. But there was a part of her, a hungry, avaricious part, that was willingly going along with it. "I need you to sign, Mom," Chloe said, her voice firm. "The security team will help you pack." And just like that, I was out. The $100,000 was direct deposited, a cruel consolation prize. I found the motel, my mind numb, my world reduced to 4 beige walls and the low hum of the highway outside. For 3 days I cried. I didn't eat. I barely slept. I replayed every memory, every birthday party, every scraped knee, every late-night study session, wondering where I had gone wrong. How I had raised a stranger. On the morning of the fourth day, my cheap prepaid phone buzzed. It was an unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me press the green button. Mom. The voice was a broken sob. It was Chloe. 1,000 emotions warred in me. Anger, pain, love, fear. Chloe? What's wrong? Are you hurt? It's all gone, Mom, she wailed, her words tumbling over each other in a hysterical rush. Everything is gone. They took it. Cassandra, the lawyers, it was all a scam. As her story spilled out, the horrifying truth emerged. The financial firm was a sophisticated con artist operation that targeted new lottery winners. The security team was there to isolate her. While Chloe was being whisked from a 5-star hotel to a private jet for a wealth empowerment retreat, they had systematically drained her accounts. They'd used forged documents, sophisticated hacking, and classic distraction techniques. The $198 million had been moved, laundered through offshore accounts, and vanished. The vultures had flown, leaving her with nothing but massive pending tax liabilities on money she no longer had. She was broke, humiliated, and the story was about to break in the media. The very people who told her I was a liability had robbed her blind and left her to face the consequences. They froze everything, Mom. The IRS is calling. Reporters are at the hotel. I don't know what to do. I have no one, she pleaded, her voice raw with panic and regret. I'm so sorry. I was so stupid. Please, you have to help me. You're the only one who knows what to do. The silence on my end was heavy. I pictured her, alone in some hotel room, surrounded by the hollow trappings of a wealth that had evaporated, finally understanding the true cost of what she had thrown away. I took a deep breath. The pain was still there, a sharp ache in my chest. But the anger began to recede, replaced by something else, the unshakable instinct of a mother. Where are you? I asked, my voice calm and steady, the way it was when she had nightmares as a little girl. She gave me the name of a luxury hotel downtown. Okay, listen to me carefully, I said, slipping back into the role I was born to play. Do not talk to anyone. Not hotel security, not reporters, no one. Unplug the phone in your room. Lock the door. I'm on my way. Mom, thank you. I'm so, she tried to say through her sobs. We're not done yet, Chloe, I said, grabbing my car keys and my purse, which held the checkbook that still smelled of her. We'll talk about everything later. Right now, we have a mess to clean up. Sit tight. Your mother is coming. The drive to the opulent, the Grand Alexander Hotel, was a surreal journey through a life I no longer recognized. My 10-year-old Honda Civic, with its faint smell of grocery store flowers and old coffee, felt like a spaceship landing on a foreign planet as I pulled under the glittering glass porte-cochere. Valets in tailored uniforms eyed the car with polite confusion. I didn't care. A mother on a mission is a force of nature, regardless of her vehicle. I marched through the revolving doors, my sensible shoes silent on the vast marble floor. The lobby was a cathedral of wealth, all soaring ceilings, glittering chandeliers, and the hushed, expensive murmur of people for whom money was never a question. I, in my worn-in jeans and a sweater I'd knitted myself, was an anomaly. I saw the discreet glances from the staff, the slight tightening of the concierge's smile. Does she need directions to the service entrance? Their looks seemed to say. I didn't have time for their judgment. My daughter was upstairs, and her world was on fire. I'm here to see my daughter, Chloe Evans, I said to the concierge, my voice not leaving room for argument. He gave a practiced, pitying smile. I'm afraid we cannot give out guest room numbers, ma'am. For security. I leaned in closer, my voice dropping to a low, steely whisper. Young man, in about 20 minutes, this lobby is going to be swarming with reporters, cameras, and probably federal agents. The guest you're protecting is my daughter, and she is at the center of a financial scandal that will make national headlines. You can either let me go up there now and begin to manage this situation, or you can explain to your manager why you let the media circus descend unchecked. Your choice. His face paled. He'd clearly seen the nervous energy around the penthouse suite and heard the frantic phone calls. He tapped rapidly on his computer. Suite 3402. The private elevator to the left requires a key. He slid a key card across the desk without another word. The ride up was silent and swift. The doors opened directly into a private foyer. The door to 3402 was slightly ajar. I pushed it open. The scene was one of grotesque luxury and utter devastation. The suite was vast, with a panoramic view of the city skyline. A half-eaten, astronomically expensive room service meal. Caviar, a silver-domed steak, champagne, sat abandoned on a gilt table. And in the center of a white sofa that probably cost more than my first house, sat Chloe. She was curled into a ball, clutching a silk pillow. Her face was swollen and blotchy from hours of crying. She was wearing the kind of ridiculously expensive designer loungewear you see in magazines, but it was rumpled and stained with tears. She looked like a lost, terrified child playing dress-up in a palace. "Mom," she choked out, the word a sob of pure relief and shame. I didn't hug her. Not yet. I closed the door firmly, engaged both deadbolts, and unplugged the landline phone. I walked to the window and closed the heavy drapes, plunging the chaotic room into a calmer, dim twilight. Then and only then did I turn to her. I sat in a chair opposite the sofa, my posture straight. I was her mother, but right now I needed to be her general. "Start from the beginning," I said, my voice calm and firm. "Leave nothing out. Every name, every document they had you sign, every website they made you log into. Everything." The story tumbled out of her in fits and starts, a horrifying tale of manipulation. Cassandra, the financial advisor, had been the ringleader. She'd used a technique called love bombing, overwhelming Chloe with affection, praise, and a sense of belonging, before seamlessly transitioning into isolating her. "Your mother represents your old life of lack and limitation," she'd whispered. "She'll try to hold you back out of fear." The lawyers had presented documents in a dizzying flurry. There were trusts with names like the Chrysalis Horizon Fund that sounded legitimate, but were clever shells. They'd used a fake IRS agent to call and create a panic about immediate, upfront tax payments, pressuring her to wire funds immediately. They'd even set up a fake banking portal that mirrored her real bank's website. So when she logged in to check her balance, it showed the millions were still there, long after they'd been emptied. They had an answer for everything, Chloe wept. When I got nervous, Cassandra would take me shopping or for a spa day. She said stress was a tool of the poverty mindset. I listened, my stomach churning. It was a sophisticated, cruel, and devastatingly effective con. "Okay," I said when she finished, taking a deep breath. "The first thing we do is stop the bleeding. Give me your phone and your laptop." She handed them over without question. I powered off the phone and removed the battery and SIM card. I disconnected the laptop from the Wi-Fi. "These are compromised. They likely have spyware on them." I handed her my cheap prepaid phone. "Use this for now. Only for calls." Next, I called the one person I knew I could trust. Ben Miller, my old friend who had been a forensic accountant for the FBI for 40 years before retiring. I explained the situation in quick, clinical terms. "Ben, I need you to be my North Star. They've drained her accounts. We need to find the frozen assets, contact the real IRS, and get ahead of this." Ben's voice was gravelly and immediate. "Eleanor, listen carefully. Do not call the bank's main number. Google the bank's fraud department number directly. Call them, report the account takeover. Then you need to call the Federal Trade Commission and the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center. I'm sending you the links and numbers now. Do it in that order. I'll start making calls on my end." For the next 3 hours, I was a whirlwind of efficiency. I became the CEO of crisis management. I spoke to bank fraud investigators, filing official reports. I filled out the IC3.gov forms with a detail that would make an agent proud. I negotiated with the hotel manager, paying for the suite for one more night with my own drained credit card to buy us time and a secure base, convincing him that containing the story was in his best interest too. Chloe just watched me, huddled on the couch. She was seeing a version of her mother she had never known. Not the woman who clipped coupons, but the woman who had single-handedly kept the wolves from the door for decades. The woman who knew how to fight. As I finally ended the last call, a temporary hold placed on the accounts and a case number with the FBI in hand, the silence returned to the room. Exhaustion hit me like a physical wave. Chloe finally uncurled herself. She walked over and knelt on the floor in front of my chair, resting her head on my knees, just as she had when she was a little girl and had a bad dream. I gave them everything, she whispered, her voice ragged with grief. And I threw away the only thing that was ever real. I saw myself in those magazines Cassandra bought, in the clothes in the penthouse, and I liked that person. I thought she was strong, but she was just an empty shell. I'm so sorry, Mom. I don't deserve your help. I finally let my composure break. I placed my hand on her head, stroking her hair. The anger was gone, replaced by a profound, aching sorrow for both of us. This isn't about deserving, Chloe, I said, my voice thick with tears. This is about what family does. We show up. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. I lifted her chin so she would look at me. Her eyes were the same clear green they were the day she was born. The money is gone, I said. All of it. And the life you had 3 days ago is gone too. What we have to decide now is what we build from the ashes. And we will build it together. Downstairs, the first news van pulled up to the hotel. The storm was gathering. But in a quiet room on the 34th floor, we had already found our shelter. It wasn't in a bank vault or a penthouse suite. It was in a chair, with a mother's hand stroking her daughter's hair, ready to face whatever came next. Together,